Hi, everyone. This is Travis.
And this is Jonathan.
And we'd like to welcome you to the 100 Ways to Love a Cat podcast.
That's the podcast that eventually plays the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat.
And that's coming up very soon. I don't know if you listened last week. If you didn't, shame on you, first and foremost.
You should always listen.
You should listen. You know what, though? If some people get ready to hear the song and they're not, we're still, yammering away. If they want to fast forward and go straight to the song, I don't have a problem with that. Let me make that
this
clear
is
now.
just filler.
It's exactly what this is. But if you miss the filler and still listen to this song, good on you. But, I guess if you skip through this filler, you're not going to ever know, which is fine. But those of you who did hear and have any interest at all, you might have heard, and I appreciate the condolences. You were some of you were very nice to wish me well, and under the circumstances when I lost my uncle Gordon before last week. But I mentioned on here after discussing that sad news that the good news part of that was that he left unto me a very rare commodity, a very rare breed of donkey. It is a pure-blood Barrington prancing donkey. Pretty Tail is what he named her, and it's what we call her lovingly. And it's been quite an experience. I wasn't prepared. I don't have the living arrangement for an animal of that size, but I'm making do. And as so many of you know, whether you listen to us yammering at the beginning of this, even if you just listen to the song, which is primarily what we're here for, let's say that up front. That's really what this podcast is about, is to bring that song to you over and over again. But those of you who have listened to that, you obviously know that Jonathan and I know a great deal about cats. There's not much I don't think we don't know, and we put so much of that into that song, as you can hear.
I'd say we wrote the book on cats, except instead of writing a book, we just made it into a video and a song.
And a song. That's exactly what we did. And I think that's just as good as any book anyone could ever write.
Well, that's what they did with The Great Gatsby and Romeo and Juliet. All those great Leonardo DiCaprio movies start out as a book. And then somebody says, I'm going to make these into a movie and a song.
And that's all I know of them, are the movies and the songs. I know sometimes a school makes you read a book like that, but let's be honest, a school has to make you read a book like that. No one enjoys it.
No one enjoys. Whatever happens in a school is what they've made you do, and when you get out, you're like, I don't even remember if that was real or not.
Right. And you make a choice once you have freedom that I want to see Leonardo DiCaprio and prove to me that one of those books was worth a darn that I was forced to read.
And that's true. Also, that's a good point. The older you get, the more you're like, now I have time and a fully functioning brain that's ready to take on the classics, The Great Gatsby, Romeo and Juliet, Titanic. I want to read those books. Mm-hmm. When I'm a kid, I'm young and full of energy, and your brain doesn't work so well, and you're climbing trees and jumping off of them and getting in a car and learning how to drive. Crazy things. That's for youth, is for crazy things.
It is.
Then when you get older, that's when you think, I'd like to read a book if I had the time.
But you've seen the movies before then.
Oh,
yeah.
I've seen all those. They're pretty good.
They are. That's what Basketball Diaries also.
Mm-hmm.
Another book I didn't read, but enjoyed the movie a great deal. But having written the book or written the song
about cats,
a song that we have yet to write, that, to be quite honest with you, I don't know if I have it in me after the 100 Ways to Love a Cat. I think my work is kind of done. My job now is to share it, is to share it with the world.
Well, not to get religious, but that's sort of what Jesus did.
Well,
not to compare ourselves to
no,
Jesus.
not at all.
But at some point, on a much lower level
sure.
than Jesus.
Same, yes.
But when you realize, well, I'm done here. Like, what do you stick around for? That's how you get a situation like an old man at the party who's like, I thought he left 3 hours ago. I called him a Uber, and here he still is. So who took that car? You don't want to be one of those people that's just wears out your welcome, peering in the windows, nodding off in the bushes. Like, why are they still here?
Right.
Don't be one of those people.
Don't be one of those. Not that this is a critique, because it certainly isn't. It's just I would say this is an observation about Jesus and what the great things that he did. Had he made that book into a song, perhaps we'd be living in a better world right now. That's all I'm saying.
Well, now when you go to church and they've made songs out of that book, but those are not. Jesus didn't do that.
No, he didn't do that. Other
and you
people
can
did
tell.
that.
You can tell when you sing them.
And if he did it, I would hope that it would be one continuous long song of the Bible, as opposed to just singing about this little part here or that little part here. Because we could have written a song, just pet a cat if you love it, and
that's a mini song.
2 minutes tops, right? And
I'm not in this game to write a mini song. I wanted to put it all down.
Put it all down
at
and
once.
And I know Jesus was that kind of person. I just don't think
we shouldn't. I don't. And again, I don't want to get too religious, but I don't like the kind of talk that you're doing right now. There's no offense, but where you're like, Jesus would have done this, and no man knows what.
That's
Jesus
true,
would
but
do.
you have to remember this, and this isn't any fault of Jesus's. Back then, they didn't have. You couldn't record a song. You know what I mean? You couldn't. There was no recording devices. He couldn't.
Well, another thing I don't like is
couldn't
when people
go into
say
the studio.
Jesus couldn't do this or Jesus couldn't do that.
Well, they just wasn't available. There wasn't a recording studio that he could go into and say roll tape. He couldn't do that. He had paper, and he had a rock or a stick or sand.
That rock could have recorded any song you wanted. Look, I don't want to get religious on here. I'm just saying, if you say, well, he couldn't do this, he couldn't do that, Jesus couldn't do that. He did. Walked on.
He did.
Allegedly, the water.
And he also brought people back to life. He cured lepers, so why couldn't he? Yes.
He after the whole Easter thing happened, and then he was still... they found him later, or whatever happened. It was amazing. And so you're going to say, well, he couldn't make that rock record a song? He could have.
Sure. I get what I'm really trying to say.
This is not, I don't want to
I understand. And I don't want you to think that I'm critiquing you. I'm just saying, what a great song that would have been. The Bible song. You know what I mean? The whole... That's all I'm saying. If he had done that, I just think the world would be a better place. It's no fault of his own. He had other things he wanted to do. He did what he wanted to do. I'm just saying.
That's the thing. You can't look at an artist like that and say, well, I wish he would have done this or that.
No.
We can't play the what if game.
No, I understand.
Stevie Nicks. I mean, you don't want to go down that rabbit hole.
No, I'm not. No, I don't want to do that. But getting back to what I was saying, we have not written the Barrington prancing, pureblood Barrington prancing donkey song, so I don't know a whole lot about this animal. Now, granted, it came with papers, official papers, and I'll be honest, it's almost written in a language that I don't understand because I'm not an equestrian. Do they have? That's horses, though. It's not donkeys.
I don't know if I think it might apply to donkeys too, but I'm not sure. I'd have to look that up. Maybe mules. There's so many rules.
Yeah. And these are just, I know I can learn it. I know there's places I can go to study it. I really don't have time to enroll in a class or anything.
You can't learn, though. This is the tricky thing with the Barrington pureblood prancing donkeys. Mm-hmm. And this is what your Uncle Gordon told me years ago, and I'm really surprised he didn't tell you, especially since you wound up him giving you the donkey after he died. But he told me, he said, it's a pain in my ass with the judges, because a lot of things aren't written, but they're pronounced by judges. If you're like, well, can he eat this? Can she eat that? What is this stool normal? You have to call a pureblood Barrington prancing donkey judge, and they come down and they make the decision right there. It's not like, oh, this means that, yes means no, ipso facto.
There's so very few of this animal, though. Not that I'm saying it's endangered, but there aren't many. And again, I'm very privileged to be acquainted or to have ownership of one. But being that the animals are so scarce, how many judges are available on call to make these sort of decisions? Because I don't have that number. I don't know, because I will call one. I How many?
Well, here in the mid-central, the upper mid-central, there's about 5 that handle the whole upper mid-central.
Okay.
And
that's reasonable.
And the eastern beaches, and I think they also do the southern shores. So I'm not 100%. They get a lot. They put a lot of miles on their car, and the Prancing Donkey Association reimburses them.
Okay,
but you'd better watch out though, because I do remember this. Your Uncle Gordon, my friend Gord, was super worried that he was going to get arrested by one of these judges, because if anything happened to Pretty Tail, because there's so few, that the judges, if they come to investigate and they're like, well, you didn't do this, or you didn't sue this foot,
or
you didn't wipe it down, or you notice these symptoms, and they can have you arrested, and they can take the animal and give it to somebody better.
Well, there may be somebody better suited. I mean, there would be at this point, because there's so much I need to learn. I hope no one would arrest me just because of my lack of knowledge.
You can't get out of it like that.
Well, I'm not trying to get out of it. I want to do right by the animal. That's not the issue.
They're not just going to take the animal away.
Well,
there's fines. There's jail time.
Oh, jeez.
There's whatever kind of punishment. I've seen them. He showed me online videos of them just beating people up.
What?
With the sticks. They can't use their fists, but they can use their sticks. Well, I mean, there's a bunch. Again, it's a bunch of rules.
You
have the papers.
Well, I do. I don't see on the list of judges. I don't have numbers or addresses or how to contact.
I'm coming down way too hard on you. Your uncle just died. He gave you a very valuable present.
He did.
And I'm sure it's a lot to take. And I'm not being a very good friend. I'm not being a very good friend.
You're being a fine friend. I'm learning a lot. I just wish you would share this information with me as soon as I had gotten Pretty Tail. You could have told me last week.
How would you not know that? I'm sorry.
Oh.
I'm not being a very good friend.
Well, let's listen to the song 100 Ways to Love a Cat. It's time. Again, this is what we're here for. If anyone has any advice on a Barrington or purebred Barrington prancing donkey, or a judge, a purebred Barrington prancing donkey judge, if you have any information on that, please share it with me. Jonathan seems to know a lot, but I'm getting this information a little late, I'd say. Still grateful to get it.
Let me also say I'm sorry if I offended anyone, if I came off too religious and preachy. I don't like to get into that aspect of my personality, but I am very spiritual. So sometimes that comes out when I get agitated or tired.
It's understandable.
There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 1. Keep a tidy house for them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 2. Be sure to clip their claws. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 3. Scoop their box daily. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 4. Brush them with a hairbrush. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 5. Don't squeeze their paws hard. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 6. Give them some fresh water. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 7. Let them have a fish. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 8. Buy them a scratching post. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 9. Put them in your lap. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 10. Be quiet when they're sleeping. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 11. Whisper, I love you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 12. Rub their soft belly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 13. Make sure their tail is clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 14. Give them a yarn ball. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 15. Make them a nice bed. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 16. Buy him some catnip. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 17. Play them some music. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 18. Get them a cute collar. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 19. Make sure they're vaccinated. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 20. Take their picture. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 21. Brush their teeth. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 22. Let them watch TV. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 23. Don't let them be outside by themselves. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 24. Feed them some cat food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 25. Make sure their eyes are clean. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 26. Put a liner in their box. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 27. Give them a mat to wipe their feet on. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 28. Don't forget them on Christmas. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 29. Make sure they're spayed or neutered. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 30. Hold them like a baby. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 31. Let them have a towel or blanket. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 32. Keep your toilet lid down. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 33. Don't let them chew on power cords. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 34. Set them by the window. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 35. Cat-proof your home. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 36. Change their litter weekly. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 37. Praise them lavishly. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 38. Never feed him chicken bones. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 39. Teach them a funny trick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 40. Give them a toy mouse. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 41. Clean up their hairballs. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 42. Keep them away from candles. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 43. Give him a separate zone. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 44. Never play with them aggressively. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 45. Increase his cuddle time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 46. Be sure to watch his weight. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 47. If you leave, turn on the radio. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 48. Scold him firmly but with kindness. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 49. Respond when he meows. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 50. Give them a thing of cat grass. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 51. Scratch under his chin. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Wait, 52. Remind him that you love him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 53. Give them a box to play in. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 54. If they're old, help them get down. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 55. Let them lick you with their rough tongue. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 56. Record precious memories. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 57. Dress them up in ribbons. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 58. Give them a flea treatment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 59. Make a vet appointment. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 60. Give them a little wet food. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 61. When they scratch you, don't get angry. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 62. Give them some private time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 63. Treat them with respect. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 64. When he grooms himself, say good job. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 65. Let them chase a laser pointer. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 66. Clean out their ears. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 67. never smoke around them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 68. Buy a sturdy cat carrier. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 69. Listen to them purr. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 70. Tempted by temptations. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 71. Give them your full attention. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 72. Don't trap them in the laundry basket. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 73. Let them sleep in bed with you. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 74. Make sure they're not locked in the closet. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 75. Don't let them play in plastic bags. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 76. Give them a massage. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 77. Touch him as you pass by. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 78. If he's on the couch, don't be mad. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 79. If they hate fans, turn the fan off. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 80. When there's a bird outside, say, hey, look. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 81. Intrigue them with a funny sound. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Weigh 82. Don't forget sardine time. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 83. Let him play with your old socks. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 84. Stroke in the direction that his fur goes. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 85. Admire his long whiskers. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 86. Keep his box away from his food. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 87. Pretend that he's a piano. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 88. Don't interrupt them while they're eating. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 89. When they're scared, go and comfort them. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 90. Let him have a lick. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 91. If their breath stinks, give them greenies. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 92. Give him a ball with a bell in it. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 93. If it's hot, put ice in their bowl. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 94. Let him drink out of the sink. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 95. Don't vacuum if it scares him. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 96. Draw a picture of him. 100 loving ways. 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 There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 97. If you drop some food, it's theirs now. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 98. Read him a book. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 99. Feed him again. 100 loving ways. There are 100 ways to love a cat. 100 loving ways. Way 100. Just love them every day. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways. 100 loving ways.
I love that song. Still love it.
No matter what's going on in our lives, that we may not even tell you about. Although we tell you a lot.
We do tell a lot on here. But it's always a rock. It puts everything in perspective when I hear it.
And it can change your outlook.
It has changed my outlook, I'm going to say, at this point. When we wrote this song in what year? What was it? 2007, 2007? Something like that. I think so. It has changed, I would say, has changed my outlook in at least 15 different ways since 2007.
I started out as one sort of person, and then by the time we were finished with the song, I was somebody else. Mm-hmm. And then every time we play it, I feel like I've become like two different other people.
I've learned something. There's more, something else is good instilled in me through that music into my ears, and it goes straight to my heart.
And this time it's no different, and I was sitting here thinking, okay, Travis has a pure blood Barrington prancing donkey.
I do.
His Uncle Gordon gave him. It's through no fault of Travis's. His Uncle Gordon passed away.
He willed it upon me. I wish he were still here with us.
And I thought, well, you know what? Maybe I'm a little jealous. I thought I was I was close with Gord,
Oh, Jonathan.
and I was close with Pretty Tail.
And we're close as well.
And we're close.
Yes.
And that's a sort of division that when your mind, if you're not listening to your breathing and centering your focus on your, all those, if you just get lost in your own head, you can go down the road of temptation and jealousy. And I should be there for you and for Pretty Tail, honestly, because Pretty Tail, I'm sure, needs me as well.
Anytime that you want to spend time with Pretty Tail, all you need to do is just ask and go. Rick, in the evenings, he's at Rick's. Right now, there are certain parts of the park I can walk him in or ride him in. I still haven't gotten the gum. I'm not ready.
Just
it's been
throw
so
a
long
leg
since,
over.
I know, but I'm not there yet. We're still getting to know one another, and that time will come. But during the day, there are parts of the park that he can be in. But after certain hours, he has to be back in the shed. And when I say shed, it's a large shed. Rick is currently renting out to me. But any time, Jonathan, that you want to see Pretty Tail, and I know Pretty Tail would love to see you, all you need to do is just go and see Pretty Tail anytime you want.
Here's my problem. I appreciate that. When I was feeling really extra jealous to show you up, I made arrangements to purchase a camel.
Why would that?
I just thought it would be, people would say, look at that man with his donkey. Is that one of those pureblood Barrington prancing donkeys? And everyone would go, oh, and they'd clap. And I said, well, and then they'd see, who's that on a camel? That's what I wanted to happen. It sounds silly now. But I went down to Clam River and I bought Tacoitis, my camel.
You bought a camel?
They haven't delivered it yet. I named it Tacoitis, but I don't know if it's a boy or a girl.
I hope that you wanted a camel and not did it just purely out of for jealousy reasons.
I'm feeling a lot of different things right now.
Well, you know what? All that's going to go right out the window when you see Tacoitis for the first time, and that your heart will be filled, and all of this jealousy, all this petty stuff won't be there.
Again,
You'll fall in love.
I think that may be. Can you see you and me in the park with our donkey and our camel?
Well, I'm happy. I hope
God.
I don't do this. Well, that's something I need to research again. There's so much stuff I need to learn about the pureblood Barrington prancing donkey, and I don't. Do they get along with camels? Is that?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We have to consult a judge.
Yeah,
I don't even know
because that could be illegal. Just getting one near one, we don't know.
What does a camel eat?
Hay,
probably.
Yeah.
Most of them
they
do.
all eat hay. I think
you're
pretty
right.
much.
Ooh, let's go. I gotta go get some hay, I guess.
Be ready. Oh, well, I can't wait to meet Tacoitis. I'm excited. And until Tacoitis arrives, please feel free to come by and see Pretty Tail anytime you want, Jonathan. You are more than welcome. Your family, Pretty Tail is a member of our family. Now that Uncle Gordon is gone, you and I are family, and Pretty Tail is part of that family. And hopefully Tacoitis will be able to be part of that family
You
as well.
can come see Tacoitis. He or she is your family. And you're welcome over here at where I've got all this room now. So just come on over and bring Pretty Tail.
I'd be happy to bring Pretty Tail.
If they can be in close quarters together.
Well, that we need to find out first, I think. Thanks so much for listening. I hope you come back next week. We will be back here again playing 100 Ways to Love a Cat, and I
feel
guarantee
better. I hope you do too.
I'm tell you what, it's going to awaken more in me every time I listen to it. I look forward to listening to it next week, and I hope there are many awakenings in your future by listening to 100 Ways to Love a Cat. Thank you so much.